So, all right. So I want to thank you all for coming. This is our Garden State Region Summer Workshop on programming and fundraising. Um, just so we're going to keep your mics. You can keep your mic unmuted. So this way we can participate. But I want to introduce Susan Winter, who's Vice President of Programming, and Helene Nee, who is Education Chair. And I'll let them take it away.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, as Sheila says, I'm Susan Winter, and I'm in charge of programming for the Garden State region. And we're going to be doing 3 Zoom programs during the year. And also on May 3rd is going to be our spring conference. So hopefully you and other members of your sisterhood will be here. So I thought a fun way to introduce ourselves would be for everyone to go around, say your name, your sisterhood name, and your role in the sisterhood, and also to name one adjective that describes your sisterhood. So I'll start. I'm Susan Winter. I belong to the Highland Park Conservative Temple Congregation Ansha Emeth Synagogue in Highland Park, New Jersey. And this coming year, I'm going to be on the programming team. There are 5 of us who are going to be doing all the various programs. But I actually have been a program chair in the past. And one adjective that describes my sisterhood is healthy. They love to cook. Any event that they can cook, they cook. And they're also very considerate that if you have some dietary issue, like I'm gluten-free, they will make sure there's some gluten-free food. And also a successful program in my sisterhood over the years is we did several Vashti programs where we actually cooked the food. They did henna, we did arts, we actually had a belly dancer. So that's all. So does somebody else want to go next? Helene, do you want to do
Okay,
next?
sure.
And then,
Okay. I'm Helene Nee, and I'm in charge of educational programming and in the Highland Park Conservative Temple, also in Highland Park, New Jersey. Oh, okay. Yeah, in any case, our synagogue, I think, is a place where education is really important. We've had some very successful programs about issues. Like one was called Yes, It Happens in the Jewish Community Too, where we talked about issues that were kind of, a little off the beaten track sometimes. We talked about mental health issues. We talked about alcohol and drug abuse. We talked about attention deficit and learning issues. So, we also talked about the LBGTQ in the Jewish community. So all sorts of things that we had, and we had speakers, and it was, I guess, empowering, educational, and enriching for the people in our synagogue. And I think that we'll talk more, because one thing that works for one synagogue may not work for another, but there are ways to tweak and adapt, right?
okay,
So
so what would you say, Helene, is an adjective?
an
Or,
adjective for, I think that we're creative. We're a
okay,
creative type synagogue.
okay, fine. Who wants to go next or,
I can
um,
go.
okay,
Okay. Karen Pollock, Sisterhood of Temple Beth Am in Aberdeen, New Jersey. And I'm joined by Carol and Cindy. Again, it's funny. One word that I thought of immediately to describe us was old, only because, like many sisterhoods, we have a lot of members who've been with us for a while, and it's challenging to recruit new members, but a good adjective, I think, to describe us, I'm sure Carol and Cindy can come up with more, is supportive. I found that the members are very supportive of each other, which is beautiful and important. I think I said everything I was supposed to say.
any particular program that you thought was real successful?
We've had many bingos, seems to be popular. Among our crowd, we've done various holiday themed bingos. We've partnered with Men's Club to do a pancake breakfast, which was a really nice fundraiser for us. We auctioned off baskets during the pancake breakfast. We hope to do it again this year. we have our annual basket auction, which is a lot of fun, which draws a lot of people and has been successful. Cindy has worked on a lot of programs. We've had speakers, we've taken advantage of Zoom, we've done art auctions, we've done a lot.
Sounds,
Okay, thank you. Who wants to go next?
yeah.
Okay, Cindy.
No, Cindy. Okay, you're muted, Cindy.
You're muted, you're muted.
You're muted, Cindy.
There we go. Okay. My name is Cindy Manis. I'm also from Temple Beth Am in Aberdeen, New Jersey. I'm Vice President of Programming, and we've done a lot of programs. I would say we are most of the members in our sisterhood are supportive. We are older because we've been members together for a long time. And like Karen said, it's very hard to bring in new members. But some of the programs that we've done in the spring, we did a nutrition program. We had a speaker come in and it was very well attended. We also did a chocolate Seder that we partnered with Hadassah. Once a year, we try and partner with them if we can find something agreeable. We've done several movie nights in the past, but we've had a little trouble with our audio equipment, so we hope that that will be fixed so we can go back to doing that. We try and do one virtual program, at least in the winter, when a lot of people don't like to come out of their houses, whether it's snowy, icy, or anything like that. And we have done Vashti's Banquet in the past. That was, well, basically when Bonnie Farron was alive. She was the one that instituted that. And I'm not sure I could do it without her because of what she brought into it. But I think we should revisit that to see if we can do that. We've also done crafts, although we haven't done a lot lately, but we have gone out to some places and we have crafts or painting brought in that we could do. And we also did I think it was to learn all about cars. We had a speaker so that, it's not like you have a problem with your car and you know absolutely nothing, because that's usually something that's a man's world, right? But we're always looking for new ideas and we have some new ones coming up this fall.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Heather, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Heather Lordry. I'm an individual member, so I don't have an adjective. I was at the Leadership Institute last week, so I got to meet
Oh,
Sheila
good.
in person, and
Wow.
I had signed up for a few of the Garden State Region programs.
And where do you live in New Jersey?
I'm in Bergen County. I'm in northern New Jersey in Lodi.
Okay, welcome. Glad you could come. Okay, Amy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'll give it a shot. I'm actually filling in for Paul Lipkin, who is the program VP and couldn't be here. So I missed the first 5 minutes because my machine was rebooting and I had to re-sign into Zoom. So we
You
really
didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss
Okay.
anything.
Intro.
We
Thanks.
started at 7:35.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Well, I was always taught on time is early, so it was, especially when I'm filling in, but whatever. We really, I think, have a fairly varied program. We are small, so we do sometimes coordinate with Men's Club, or we have a CLC is our Cultural Learning Center, Torah Fund, and it runs a gamut. Our big fundraiser, one of them is a progressive dinner, which we do in the spring. We had a mindfulness meditation speaker. We had a great guy who came and talked about AI. So that was really interesting. We always have a program for our opening membership night. This year it's Israeli dancing and dinner. We do game nights with the men's club about 4 times a year. Always fun. What else did we do? a Thanksgiving family hike, the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's a pretty standard thing. We do an escape room we've been doing the last couple of years. Book clubs. What else? And we usually do something crafty. Last year it was knitting. The year before we made picture frames with glass pieces around it. Somebody came from the shop to the synagogue. So there's for a small synagogue, I have to say we're pretty mighty. We have a pretty robust program, which is nice, but and always looking for, new ideas. So it's-
Okay, so hopefully we'll have a lot of new ideas for you today. And then I
good.
think Carol.
Well, hi, I'm also from Temple Beth Am in Aberdeen. Finished the Trinity, no,
Yeah.
the triangle, shall I say, of the group represented here. I'm returning to the board this year as a trustee under the guidance of Cindy, who's a master at programming. And I've been a member of the Temple and of Sisterhood for many, many, many years. Was a Sisterhood president at one point. But as I say, I'm returning more activity at the moment. I think they've covered everything about the kind of programs that we've done that I can think of. They did a very good job. And if I were to think of an adjective, I would say Hamish, friendly.
Hmm.
I'm good.
yeah.
We have a very, we've known each other for a long time, and we try to welcome new people when they come and be receptive to new faces when they come. But when we come into an activity and we come into the temple, it's a warm feeling and it's an accepting feeling. And that's something that I've always appreciated about sisterhood and about temple.
Okay, thank you. Sheila, do you want to mention anything about your
Sure.
sisterhood?
Sure. I'm from Miriam Sisterhood of All Shalom Congregation. We are 145 years old or so. We're founding members of Women's League and United Synagogue. So yes, we are old, but we're in a transition mode. So I'm gonna say that we have older women, we have younger women. We're trying to get there. It's a transition period. But in the past, we've had Bash's Banquet. We have programs in the sukkah. Being sex in the sukkah has always been popular. Uh, what else? Designer bag bingo. Uh, book clubs. We've had some craft stuff, whether we go to a glass place or come in. We've had an herbologist come. What else? But we do a lot of giving, so we do social action, whether it's in the food pantry or going someplace, cooking soups or kugels for sale. So, but yeah, I mean, basically, I would say we're a transition period.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, so
Can I ask a question? Are these synagogues conservative synagogues, or do we have a mix here?
No, it's all conservative.
We're all conservative.
Yeah, because we're part of Women's League for Conservative Judaism. So,
Obviously, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
but nobody else is joined in. Okay.
yeah, Heather's unique. She's an individual member. So she may be finding a sisterhood to join, or she may continue on as an individual member.
Mhm.
So
okay.
there's no synagogue local to her close by.
Okay, so we'll next start. Helene, I was going to do the next presentation.
Right. So, I kind of liken,
So the share, so the
yeah.
wait a second, the PowerPoint, I guess,
I'm
Sheila.
gonna
Yeah,
share.
we could start the PowerPoint, but I liken programming to kind of like going in, let's say you're going into a swimming pool. Some of us like to go off the deep end, right? And just jump right in. And some of us like to just put a toe in, right? So, I'm kind of like thinking, just jumping right in is a good thing sometimes, but sometimes you have to step back a little, right? The water's freezing. Oh God, right? And so maybe you need to just put your toe in. So I think I kind of liken it to different, I call it the 6 P's of programming. The first being the purpose, okay? Because if you don't have a reason for why you're doing the program, then, and you're just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it, then that makes it, a little bit like, will people actually even come if you don't know why you're doing it? Will it
Sheila,
be
the next slide, excuse
successful?
me.
Yeah,
The
I'm
next
sorry. Oh, yeah,
slide.
we have to go, yeah, we have to advance a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
please. Okay, now to purpose, the first P. One more. Okay, one more slide, if we can do, great. Okay, so the why being the most important concept, and it's vital to find programs that meet your members' needs because your members' needs are different than my members' needs. And programs can be meaningful. I know some of you mentioned programs about social justice. And we did a program, a women's Seder, educational programs, cooking class, definitely an educational program. The programs that I had mentioned, and yes, it happens in the Jewish community, programs on social justice, learning about things that you might not have known or might not have realized, exist, could be very, very important. And I can even include programs on Israel, personal growth, yoga, qigong, stress management. These can be very important, especially in the day and age that we have so much stress. Self-care is important in these programs, like learning again how to take care of ourselves, in the chaotic world. And we did a program on Shasheret once, a program about breast cancer, program about heart health. We might do something now about brain health, keeping our brain healthy. So all important. Empowerment. We once did actually a very major program for Women's League. It was a conference and it dealt with women, power, and purpose. One thing about programs that I can say, and of course, programs to help meet and engage new members. You want people to feel comfortable. You want them to feel welcome. That's why everybody, I think, mentioned that they do have welcome back programs. And sometimes your welcome back program, you want to entice them with something that they're going to kind of like learn. Like one time, Susan and I, we led a tea party and everybody dressed and wore kind of hats and tea kind of things and learned about tea and were served tea. We had singing in the sukkah, which is kind of a, fun thing. This year, we're going to be doing poetry and pie in the sukkah. Okay, one time we had a party where we served only things that began with the letter P, and I guess pie would count, right? Genealogy is a way of bringing in people because, again, things that cross-cut generations, people who are interested. Commitments to a cause. Again, we've done this ourselves. We've done a mitzvah day. We've done social action programs. We've had speakers come in speaking about, all different things like women who, I guess, in the Jewish community who had domestic violence issues, trafficking, which is a major topic now that we're talking about, who I won't mention names, but so these things can be, important to learn and to feel a sense of empowerment, enhancing friendships and just being exciting, excitement, something different. We once did a program on Jewish women on stage, which is kind of cool, and programs for enjoyment. Again, there's fundraising versus fundraising. Some programs can be fundraising and fundraising at the same time. We had a cabaret night, which was kind of like, some people liken it to talent show, but I think of like, a talent show, you think you've got talent, cabaret night sounded a little more, less high school, more mature, whatever. And the program was basically people from our synagogue, and we did outreach to others who wanted to perform, who had some sort of talent that they wanted to show off, and served wine and pastries. And these programs we've done more than once, and they've been very successful and fun, just a lot of work, right? Something different. We, I guess, dealing with women's rights, that's another, thing that we've dealt with. This year, we're going to be doing an educational program and teaching, not just a game day, but teaching people who want to learn Mahjong, who have an old Mahjong set lying around that they don't know what to do with. So that can be kind of fun. We had a program about humor. We found somebody who, was a humorist who kind of like helped, again, a program for fun, but it could also be a fundraising program. We've done Zumba, we've done belly dancing, we've gone on trips, and we've dealt with many, many things. We went to Grounds for Sculpture. One of the people in our synagogue is an artist, and she was pointing out things, and it was kind of lovely. We've gone to the Lower East Side, where we sampled a lot of goodies, and to the Jewish Museum in Philadelphia. So these are possibilities and things that we've done. This year, we're going to be doing a program on forest bathing, which is kind of cool. Again, a program that could be for self-care or personal growth, all these things. And, just food for thought, right? Then the second P is plan. Okay, thinking of a plan and program development. Okay, so how do you begin to create a program? Sometimes you have an idea, but you don't exactly know where to go with it. You're thinking about it, it's kind of gelling. So it's good to kind of like discuss it with others, discuss that vision you have, whether, building a team, and asking people, well, what do you think of this? Not just, like have it your vision, but others, and have them put their, I guess, mark on it as well. We could research a variety of programs that were successful. And at the end of our PowerPoint, we do have access to some of the former programs that Women's League had that were successful. Many of them educational, but some of them for fun as well. So something kind of cool, right? We can, look at different things that we could put into the program. Using videos, using music, participation. Maybe you want to put on a play. Maybe, again, people are working on art projects, but sometimes people are working on projects together. And some of the projects might be with the goal of twinning, and that concept of making something for yourself or for your synagogue, and then but also giving it to another synagogue or to another individual. I know that Susan had mentioned, had talked about doing something like this for our synagogue, and possibly at one point they were giving things to people who suffered from the fire in Los Angeles, from the people in those synagogues who had lost so much. So, again, something to think about. A mock trial. I know that our synagogue has done that at times. We've put Moses on trial. We put David on trial, right? All sorts of things. Putting on a theater production. One time we did, I guess it was a Hanukkah play, and it was kind of a fun thing where we had, the Maccabees versus the Greeks. Some of us wore togas, some of us were warriors, and it involved song, dance, and just a fun thing. So, all sorts of creative things. And as I said, creativity the key, right? And developing programs together, working together, collaboration, communication, cooperation, and creative energy. And I can say, if you want a successful program, serve food and snacks, because those are always enticing. People sometimes will come for the food. I know it's like, right? They'll want it. We're going to possibly hopefully do a Caribbean program. And let me tell you, people are going to want to come for the drinks and the snacks. And that'll be kind of cool, right? Okay, so that's very enticing. And then again, what's the program going to be? We have to decide, is it going to be free, or are we going to charge a small fee for the program? We don't want the fee to be so much that it's going to put people off, but sometimes we have expenses. Some speakers that we might get that are experts may want some money, so we may have to charge a small amount. And of course, if you're serving food, sometimes you want to be reimbursed for that as well. So, what we try to do is keep it, keep the fee small for members, and non-members have to pay a little more. Okay, so maybe enticing them to join and say, here, look at this. If you come, you'll, you won't have to pay $30, you'll pay $15 for this program. So that'll, hopefully make it worth it for them. So, that's the second P. The third P, participation. Okay. Do we have, no, whoops, one back. Oh, I'm sorry, program topics. Oh, okay. These are, again, some of the topics, and I think I maybe discussed most of these, right? The environment. I didn't talk about that. Sustainability. I know that people are, doing this a lot more. And we have the reverse Tashlik, which is an environmental program. And some of us have done programs with the Jewish Earth Alliance, like actually doing some virtual lobbying. Okay, financial planning. This is just food for thought. Nutrition. Again, the yoga, the Zumba, belly dancing, Tai Chi, book and author discussions and games. We once played Jewish Jeopardy, and it was kind of a cool and fun thing to do. Again, a program for fundraising. And the Women's League of Central Jersey resolutions. Some of the resolutions could lend themselves to a programming topic. Okay, then we get to the third P. Okay.
Actually, before you go on, if you have
Okay,
questions
sure.
about the
Absolutely,
resolutions,
Susan.
you can contact me because I'm on the resolution committee. So, okay.
Cool. And we're coming out with a new one soon.
Well, a couple new ones, hopefully.
Okay, very good. So this will be good. And they're all on the Women's League site, right?
Right.
Correct? Right, under
Yes.
resolutions. Okay, then participation. Okay, do we have the people for the program? Who's the audience? Are we going to have it just the people in our shul? Are we going to open it up to, people in the community, right? Do we have somebody that could, in other words, do we have a speaker that specializes in this topic? Or do we have to find someone? And sometimes, could be a little dicey, we have to kind of do a little research. But, chances are if we put out feelers, there's somebody in your shul or your temple or your area that knows somebody who can do that topic, right? So, that's something that we can do. We can look for programs that will involve the most people because we want, programs that are going to interest people, right? And look and help people kind of establish connections. So, and in terms of new members, personal invites work the best as opposed to just, putting out a flyer and hoping people will come. So if you call somebody and you say, hey, I'm going to this program, and I think you might enjoy it. Would you like to join me? Maybe even if somebody, like for instance, if the people in the community are older and the program's at night, they don't want to drive, set up carpools, again, to get people out for the program, right? So that might be good. And people come for the program and they stay for the connection, right? And hopefully they'll come to more programs because they're connected, right? So that'll be good. And if a program is costly, sometimes you might want to team up with another sisterhood or other temples. Because let's say you have a speaker, it's a fantastic speaker, but the speaker wants $300. I mean, that can happen. And your synagogue is not going to be able to afford that, or that would be difficult. Sometimes if you do it with another synagogue nearby, then you can do that, and that would work. And I know they've done a lot of things like that on Zoom, especially during this era, right, where they've teamed up with other synagogues when they had, a special speaker. So that's kind of cool. All right, then the next part is place. Where are we going to have this program? Where should we hold it? Sometimes it's good in our own temple, and that's fine. Or sometimes we don't always have the right facilities to do it. You need something bigger, right? Or a synagogue that has a little bit more of a stage or a theater because you're going to put on a play. So, that's something to look at. In-person programs now are in demand. Many of us are Zoomed out. Hopefully you guys aren't. But, I mean, there's just something to be said for a program that takes place in person. It's just, again, that friendship, that connection happens better when, we're in a person-to-person thing. And some programs, like for instance, let's say we're going to be doing an improv workshop. Well, on Zoom, doesn't exactly fly. So, that's why I think it's really kind of cool I think people are now, especially at this time in the fall when the weather is good, having in-person programs, right? And Zoom programs have their purpose. Listen, I'm not totally against them because we can reach a large audience. We could do distance learning during the winter when it's icy or snowy. They work best. And if we want to have an expert speaker who's not in our area. For instance, when we did a program, we had a speaker one time who was in New York, or somebody could be in Chicago. They could be anywhere in the country and they could be here. That's I guess the beauty of Zoom. And sometimes we've had hybrid programs, but hybrid programs can be a pain in the tush, frankly, right? Because they need technical support and we may not always have the support we need. Okay, and then in terms of place, field trips, museum trips and theater trips can be kind of a fun thing to do in a different place. And again, that attracts a different crowd. You know, maybe we'll even have, if we did a theater trip, maybe people who wouldn't ordinarily come to a temple program might want to go to that and do that. And it could be local theater. You don't have to run into New York for theater all the time, right? Because we have so many wonderful community theaters in New Jersey as well. So something to think about. Okay, and then our fifth one, okay, is publicity. Letting others know about the program. Because what if you give a program and no one comes, right? Because you didn't get the word out. So we have to get the word out. And again, is it for members or community? And varied ways to get the word out. Email blasts are good. Social media, flyers, snail mail. Sometimes I think we try everything, right? We could send information to sisterhood presidents of other temples if it's open to the community. But again, I'm emphasizing it about personal invites, phone calls, seeing people, enticing them to come, especially when they're the new kid on the block, right? Inviting them and saying, hey, would you like to join me? Come. Okay. And our last one, the last P is a program evaluation. And I added this because I originally only had 5 and I'm like, oh my God, but we want to know how the program worked out. So evaluating it is vital. So we want to know what was the attendance for the program. How well was it received? What worked, what didn't work? Because we need feedback so that we can develop future programs and know what's going to be good for the future. So we can even ask the people, hey, what kind of program do you want to see? Right? And I know that at Women's League, we've often done that. We've used online surveys to determine the program's success. And sometimes we've actually given out the surveys, for people so that they could actually fill it out while they're there and entice them, maybe put like a little candy in the corner. So they'll take the candy off and maybe do the survey. I know they've done that where I work sometimes, right? So that's a good thing. Okay, and now just wanted to go very, very briefly into programs for fundraising. Okay, and
Actually, I'm sorry, can I ask a question
Oh, sure,
now,
please do.
or do you want me to wait at the end?
No, do it now.
Okay, so
Great.
throughout this, and it was excellent, and I'm hoping we could get a copy of the PowerPoint. One additional P
Mm-hmm.
for me at least is price.
Oh, of course. That's
What you
another P.
mentioned,
Oh boy, that's a P, yes.
yes, okay, what you mentioned about charges. So it's a challenge or a conundrum sometime because good programs could require a fee that would be reasonable, let's say, for the program, not too expensive, but we have received some pushback because it could be, I don't know, Cindy, if you meant like $25, $30,
Mhm.
especially for like a sip and paint or one of those craft programs. So it's not, the price itself may not be unreasonable generally, but some members aren't used to spending that kind of money. So that I think could be tricky because you want people to come, you want good programs, but sometimes you do have to charge.
Right, exactly. I mean, and I know in some synagogues, if there's the person who really wants to come to a program and they're in need and they really, for whatever reason, cannot really realistically afford the program, and I'm not talking if it's $20, but then some temples I know have offered, you know, all in confidence, right? Like a scholarship or help, you know, if people really need that help in attending a program. But I think in this day and age, it's hard to have programs that have food, for instance, because the price of food has really gone up. And I know that when Women's League, when we were doing the Women of Achievement, that was, you know, for some people an issue, you know, that was, you know, the fee or the price, you know. And when it comes to an art program like the Paint and Sip program you mentioned, I mean, there's, I guess, equipment that has to be purchased. They have to get paints and the canvas and the brushes and, you know, maybe an instructor. And, you know, all this does cost. So sometimes you have to kind of like say, well, you know, because we have, you know, this expense and we have, you know, an expert coming who's going to really help you, you know, learn to do this, learn to paint, learn to crochet, learn to whatever it might be, cook. You know, we do have to charge for this. But if there's you know, again, a real, as I said, need, perhaps, you know, you could let people know that, you know, people can help with that. You know, and if you have a very expensive speaker, for instance, when I talked about teaming up with other synagogues, you know, that could help too, because that could bring the price down. The more people that participate, perhaps then, you know, like if your speaker charges $300 and you want to charge, you know, $10 and, you know, can get 30 people, you know, I mean, but if it's 500 or 600, you might need more than one shul to participate in order to cover that speaker's cost.
You know, those are very good points, and those are things that we have done and considered. I
Mhm,
don't know if it's a question of need so
mhm.
much as a magic number that some people have in their heads as to the limit that a program should cost. But I think, you know, like you said, in this day and age, with the increase in costs, with food costs, and which we tend to absorb, but just the quality of the program and the type of program, I think that's maybe something that we need to push a little bit more and hopefully get other people, the younger people or other people who the program could resonate with, to come.
Absolutely. And then you can have a variety. Like, for instance, you could have some programs that are free
Hmm.
and then some programs you charge for. And we always do like a paid up membership, like dinner, where people
Right.
who paid their membership get a lovely dinner and then they don't have to pay for it. So, hey, that membership that little bit you've paid or whatever you've paid, you know, for being a member of your sisterhood, you know, pays off because, hey, I'm getting a free meal. Right.
But at the same time, what we end up doing is a tricky trade or a
Well, right. Of course,
raffle
Susan, you're
that would
right.
end up helping to pay for the food, but
Exactly.
nobody is
That's right.
charged anything,
Right. We
so.
sometimes, right, do like little mini fundraisers, right? Like yeah, like baskets that they have that they put together. You know, one person's junk is another one's treasure. So, you know,
Right, so.
or you know, they sometimes do a 50-50 raffle, you know, so that can also help you know, in getting money that helps offset the cost so that we can bring down the cost of the program. And Susan, that was a very good point.
Especially on the dinner, so.
That helps. That definitely helps. But you're right. There are people, like, no matter how much it is, it might be like too much, you know, but let them try to go to the grocery store, go to a
Yeah.
supermarket, you
And
know?
you're gonna have everybody, people from all walks of life saying
Mhm.
it's too much money,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
others are like, don't think twice about it, and
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I guess you have to consider what your program is. Maybe you offset it by saying, if it's a $30 program, including food, maybe $5 or a certain amount comes out of your sisterhood budget and
Mhm.
implement it from, other things.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Because some sisterhoods may have a little that they've saved up in
Mhm.
excess that
Hmm.
they can use to offset the cost of a program, right? Right, but I guess that could have been a seventh P price. Didn't
Yeah,
think of that, but
yeah,
yeah, and that can be an issue, right? I mean, if a program is going to be too much and then you'll have fewer people come, you know, then you have to kind of weigh it in balance, right? So, you know, hopefully you'll have a little bit that free, some that charge, and try to keep it down as reasonably as you can, right? And you know, again, fundraising. Many of us in sisterhoods are called on to fundraise and help out with our temple programs, or a temple budgeting. And I do have a handout, but fundraising for a cause, many of us have done this, for Israel, for the IDF, fundraising for local agencies that help, for instance, an agency that provides shelter for women who've experienced domestic violence, agencies that help provide diapers and other necessities. Sometimes we've done it, collecting things for them, but sometimes people have given funds as well for this. One big fundraiser for our temple is Misholach Manu. We make really nice themed baskets for Purim, and they're basically given out to everyone in our synagogue who's a member who wants this, if they live locally, etc. And there are people who sponsor it at many different levels. So this is a major, major fundraiser. We've done honey sales for Rosh Hashanah. This year, we're even doing flowers for Rosh Hashanah. Oh, and again, you charge maybe $5 more than the thing really costs. For Purim, it's a whole different ballgame. But for this, and then, you'd be surprised. Who doesn't want beautiful flowers on their table, right? Okay, wine sales and tasting.
I'm sorry, for the Mishlach Manot, you said there were themes. What kind?
Yes.
Our
what kind of
temple
theme?
that does this, but I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've had all sorts of themes, like how about orange, you glad it's Purim? And we serve things or made things with orange, right? Different orange. Have a grape Purim, lemony Purim, Israeli Purim, where we have only like Israeli, snacks.
Okay.
Chocolate Purim, right? All different, let your
Interesting.
imagination run wild, right? So, all different kinds of things, or, it could be just even a spring theme. One time Purim came out, I think, around the same time as St. Patty's Day. So, that lent itself to all sorts of kind of fun things, So, using your imagination, I guess, is a really cool thing. And doing this can be in our synagogue, that's been a major fundraiser for us, because people are willing to sponsor the baskets for their friends, their community. Then you could buy an extra one, for your kids or for your neighbor, right?
And we also do one other thing on the Purim, we do different levels. So if somebody doesn't want, like, I think it's 54, 72, and 108,
Right.
So
Yeah. And most people, I shouldn't say most, but many, many people do participate. Or they might just buy an extra basket for $18, that they want to give to somebody that they,
Is the Shlachmano bag fundraiser, is that a sisterhood or is that a synagogue fundraiser?
That's a sisterhood. Sisterhood does it. We're the ones, we have a committee that determines the theme, that picks out the goodies. And, it always includes Humantashen, but, all the rest of the goodies. And sometimes they're even like little things. I remember there was one about apples, and I still have my apple core that I use all the time for my Purim basket, right?
My synagogue does it through the synagogue, not sisterhood.
Okay.
Oh,
Little
we do it through sisterhood, but we give it to everybody in the synagogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But the fundraiser is run by the synagogue, not the sisterhood.
Yeah,
Right,
right. I
same,
see.
yeah, same with us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Another things we've had a wine sale and tasting wine. This is something we've done, and that's also been pretty successful. Book and author events where we've had authors come, sometimes hawking their books, but talking about their books. But again, we charge a little bit more for the book, and then it's a fundraiser, right? Entertainment, cabaret night, as I said, was this particularly successful that we've had at our synagogue. And you'd be surprised at what talent you get, or maybe don't get. Music, we've had musical groups come, like 613. That's an a cappella group. Dance, as I said, theater, we've done some plays and some, musical reviews, comedy. These are all things that have been done by Sisterhood and by our temple as fundraisers. Bingo, 50/50s. Silent auction. We did an art auction where people actually gave in art. Most of it was with the Jewish or Israeli theme. Maybe they had stuff left over. Maybe they moved and they don't have room for it. And, people were able to take home a painting or work of art or Judaica that was donated to the shul. And that was, again, a fundraiser. So
Was there a particular, we're thinking of doing something like that also with the Judaica. Is there a particular name that you called it? So people understood that it was previously owned?
trying to think. I don't know, Susan, do you remember?
No, because I was going out of
Yeah.
town, so
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah,
there. But I could ask Sue Keel. I think she was the one in charge of it. I could
we
find
could
out
find out, yeah.
and get
I
back to
mean,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think people knew that it wasn't like, that people were donating or giving, or, that was previously loved, I guess. By
Right,
someone.
I'm trying to think of like a cutesy name or something,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we
previously
want to do
loved,
the same in my synagogue.
yeah, right? Previously loved Judaica, or I don't know, something with,
Yeah.
right? Something that, people had, right? That would be kind of cool. I don't know, I'll think of it, right? In
Thank you.
a few minutes. But this worked out well, right? That was kind of a nice thing. I mean, of course, we've also had like art auctions of like, people coming in with, again, usually Israeli art or art that had some sort of Jewish theme, that was not previously owned, like a gallery, in other words, doing a gallery show. We've done that as well. So both. And the Tricky Tray auction's another way of fundraising. People give in things that they got. Maybe they got a gift that, I don't know, that they had no need for, that was brand new, still in the box, that they give in, and then that was auctioned off, right? Or we've sometimes bought like kids stuff, like little Hanukkah things, all different themes for these Tricky Tray auctions. Honoring people, and then people come out and well, our synagogue does this a lot. Every year they get, we honored our mayor of our town, and they, again, come out, and that was another fundraising event. Mayor, because she was so supportive of us, of our synagogue, and Israel.
But wait, one more thing. We do also have honored people in our sisterhood too.
Yes, that's right. You're right. We have at the end of the year, often we've done this, not every single year, but the woman of Torah, and I guess, what was it? The person who is rising star, right? And the person who's the humanitarian. We've given out awards because people like awards, right? So this is another way, that we've raised funds. And not to forget the Torah Fund campaign, right? That's an important thing. Even though that's not raising money for our sisterhood, it's raising money for Torah Fund, which is vital. So these are kind of important things. And I will give you the ABCs of fundraising. I went from A to Z and found something for every letter that can be used for fundraising. And yes, right? The X we had as the sex in the sukkah, speaker on women's issues and sexuality from a Jewish woman's perspective. So yeah, so that was kind of cool. And J was Jewish Jeopardy. K was karaoke night, karaoke and kugels. So all different, all different kinds of fun things that you can think of that start with all sorts of things. Q, queen for a night of pampering, manicures, chair massage, and more. So lots and lots of exciting things. And you look at the list, and you might find something that suits your synagogue and say, wow, this sounds cool, right? So good stuff. All right. And I guess we're ready for the next. And maybe Susan, you want
Yeah,
to
yeah. So at the Women's League annual or not annual, whatever, how many years it is, the next conference is 2026. Each sisterhood could actually win, I guess, or become a recipient of the Jewels and the Crown. Very few synagogues actually apply for it, but probably more, could be applying for it and being able to receive it. So that actually lists some of the synagogues that have done it. So to qualify for the Jewels and the Crown, you kind of have to keep records for 2024, 2025, 2026. The first qualification is that you have to be current on your per capita. you have to participate in the Torah Fund campaign, and you have to participate in a Garden State Region program and use their materials. Also, they have different categories that you also have to participate in. Usually it's 2 per year. So like if you had an education programming, you would need to, I guess, have a total of 6 during this 3-year period. There's also community service, Israeli and World Fair participations that are other categories that you would have had to participate in 2 per year. And I actually helped with my last 3 for my sisterhood. So if anybody, when you do participate, if you have questions, feel free to contact me on it. Another thing that's important to know is that the Women's League also offers an adult bat mitzvah class. And then there's also a Jewish studies curriculum. They've been offering Hebrew classes at different levels. And I actually participated in the Hebrew class. I spent a year participating in the Hebrew class at the Women's League. It was free to all members. And then now I actually practice reading my Hebrew with 4 other women who live around the country. So that has actually been a wonderful experience. So yeah, so I don't know if anybody has any questions on the jewels and the crown. So you
Or
can go,
questions on anything regarding
yeah,
the talk.
right. So Sheila, if you want to go to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to be sending resources. We're going to be sending you, we'll send you the PowerPoint. We'll send you the ABCs of fundraising, the 6 Ps of programming. If you're looking for ideas for programming, there's a lot of ideas, even craft ideas that you can find on the Women's League website. And then also during 2021 and 2022, Women's League put together 2 online booklets, which different sisterhood affiliates around the country had told about a successful program that they had done. A lot of them were aimed more at educational, but you can get a lot of really good ideas from them. And then the other thing is we've listed our contact information. If you have any questions after the program, you can feel free to contact us.
Right. If we can be helpful in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm willing and happy to help you create programs. So are there any questions or comments from anyone?
Yeah, I guess we can go to for everybody to see everybody now.
Okay, good. Okay.
Helene, I have a question. What did you
Yes.
do for an AI program?
For AI.
I
No, I
didn't
think
do
it was
that one. Someone
Amy.
else
Was it
did it.
Amy who did? Somebody else did it. We didn't do that.
Amy?
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
it B'nai Shalom in West Orange. Somebody had been to a program and heard this person speak, and they really thought he was very worthwhile. So we came to the synagogue. We had a really good turnout. I think he may have charged a small honorarium, which the sisterhood picked up, so it was no charge. And he spoke about AI and ChatGPT, and he gave a handout at the end of, the different programs he had spoken about. Some were personal, some were for business. And we're considering having him come back. Apparently he speaks about other tech topics, so we're going to look into possibly having him come back again.
Can I reach out to you for contact information for him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what is your email, Amy?
You know what, let me put it in the chat because
Okay,
it's probably
great.
easier than
Okay.
um
See, already, right? People creating
Right.
programs. So I guess we're successful.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. That sounds like a good program though, because I know a lot of people like myself are a little frightened by
Right.
AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
He was very good at it, explaining. He brought his own tech that he set up, so he could have his own huge screen and show, everything that he was talking about easily.
Right. And I guess if people were further away, they'd have to do it on Zoom instead, but that's probably
Yeah, that we really
probably
didn't
too
consider
awful.
Zoom for this, and of course we did have. I think we might have had a light lunch or some refreshments in the
Yeah,
back.
I know. Food entices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Always.
We're just looking for current things to do. Back in the day, we've done identity theft programs. We've
Oh.
done, and it was actually a speaker from the state of New Jersey where it didn't even cost us anything. I don't even know if they offer that anymore. But we're always looking for something that's relevant in
Mhm.
today's time, as to what we can do. So that
And
just caught my
this certainly
eye
is.
because
Mhm.
AI is everywhere. So wouldn't it be great to have somebody talk about that?
Mhm.
I think that's.
Absolutely.
That might be
I was
disruptive
intrigued by
too.
the, oh, I'm sorry. I
Mhm.
was intrigued by the chocolate Seder, if I may be
Mhm.
so honest.
That sounds fun.
Who did that
A
one?
lot of chocolate, let me tell you. You don't want to look at
I
chocolate
guess you
for a
drink
week.
six cups of chocolate milk or something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we
imagine
had, yeah, it was a lot of
instead of.
chocolate.
I know teens have done programs like that as well, but why not have adults do it?
Right.
Mhm.
Why should they have all the fun?
Yeah, we
Right.
had a chocolate thing, one of our opening programs.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So lots of fun things, but hopefully that's given you some food for thought, literally, right?
We've also had challah baking, and we have a baker in our temple who bakes for temple fundraisers, and he baked cookies. We had a program. It
Mhm.
was the cookies. So we're always trying to do something with food because everybody loves to eat.
That's right.
Our sisterhood every year actually makes soup. And we give it to, well, we actually sell some to pay for the expenses of it, but then you give it to people who are ill. And then they also have donated people through the senior program, or other programs that need the
Right, they give it
immigrants.
to the assisted living, right. And it's all vegetarian soup and, people come and they enjoy, spending time together. Again, there's camaraderie and you're doing it for a good cause. And they actually do also, we do cooking for the shelter. There's like, I guess in the winter they have like a code blue and they have like a men's shelter. And we come out and they prepare a whole meal for people. So there's, so programs, can really do something good and you feel really good after you've done some program like this.
We've also done a shopping night, whether it's on paid up membership, we call it membership appreciation. That would be our program, or it would be just a night of shopping, or you serve wine and you have the different local vendors coming in,
Hmm,
um,
yeah,
and you either um charge them for a table, maybe like $20 a table, I don't know, or they have to donate something like $50 worth of an item and it's auctioned off, like a Chinese tricky trade type thing.
mhm,
Mm.
yeah,
And or they give something, 10% of their sale or goes towards the sisterhood if they're not charged a table or something like that.
yeah, it is nice. And then I know we once did a thing that was like Vashti's banquet, but we kind of did it with a little bit of a twist, and we called it the Casbah Cafe. And we told people to come to the Casbah, and we had different little areas where people could do all sorts of things. Maybe they were doing a craft kind of thing. I think we had scarves that they were decorating or bracelets, with bells on it that you would ring, when you heard Esther's name instead of, just stomping out, Haman, right? And, so that was kind of neat. We served all sorts of, again, Moroccan type or exotic food. People were enticed to get dressed up. And we had someone that did hand massages, so like another little twist, I mean, because there's so many different things that can be enticing, again, making it like to a little Middle Eastern kind of environment with decor and everything. So, it's a matter of just using your imagination and, like maybe you're woken up in the middle of the night with an idea, write it down, and that might be your next program. So, you never know, right? Just thinking, and I get ideas from programs from all different things. It may be some email I've read, or it may be something that I've seen other people doing, or an article I've read in a magazine or a paper or anything. You know, you never know when the next idea is going to hit you. But if you do get it, don't say, "Oh, I'll do it later. I'll take care." No, no. Write it down. Speak it into your phone so you'll remember it for later. And then you'll be able to do it. Because, you just never know when that thought will come across. So just food for thought again. All right. So any other questions, comments, concerns? Right? Yeah, I'm sorry, Karen, you have to unmute.
I was going to say, it's sort of an interesting project to tap into the local talents and skills that exist in our community, the community at large, and also the Temple community, because you might have someone who's an expert on flowers and do a show on explaining flowers and how flowers run, or insurance or health programs, things that wouldn't cost money. Maybe they'd be specialized for smaller sets. You wouldn't get, large crowds coming, but a lot of sub-interest, smaller groups coming. So the librarian, the police, the fire department. I mean, it would take a little legwork, but to go around the community at large and get a sense of what they're willing to do, what they're willing to share, or programs, because sometimes they have to show that they do community action, and they might want to come in and do something for us.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful idea. And we certainly, I know in our synagogue, we've definitely tapped into community. If we know there's somebody, in the synagogue that deals with sleep disorders or eating problems or, psych, whatever it is, we find them and we entice them to do a program.
Right, right. Even artists, we've used the artists that are belong
That's
to our
right. That's for
synagogue.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. And you may have someone with hidden talent that you don't even know, right?
Yeah, just like the local dentists, the local doctors,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's good. And librarians are excellent source of information. If they don't know something, they know where to find it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to
you were
ask,
going to say something. Yeah.
yeah, I know that obviously every sister is different, but what types of programs have you found that entice either new members, people who don't usually participate, or younger members?
Sex in the sukkah with wine.
Okay.
Oh.
What is that program?
It's Sex in the Sukkah. I will also say, we had a we have a female rabbi.
Mhm.
So she's very into getting everybody to participate, and she was fairly new to the synagogue, I guess, and it happened to be her birthday too, that day that we had it in the sukkah. But this was my third program that I did with Sex in the Sukkah. And it was really good because she did pull out excerpts from the Torah, and there was discussions along in the table. So we had about, I would say, a good 40 people, stuffed in the sukkah, at least.
Yeah. I know just the title alone might draw
Right.
people's intrigue.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, what am I doing? Right? So
Also,
that's kind of cool.
also
You can have
sometimes,
an author too who does historical romance. I mean, I know somebody, or someone that does the trashy novels. Can come in and talk. And then the first time was another person that was did Talmud reading, or talked about Talmud. Speaking of which, you have oh my God, why is her name left me? Maggie Anton.
We've
Does,
had her,
it's on this, yeah, same. We had her like 3 times. So, but she does trashy stuff too. So
Yeah, I find that programs that involve things with art often, we've even had stuff, I think, where we've had like mothers and daughters, or mothers and their kids that would be willing to do like art types of things together. I remember we once did I guess, was it bracelet or jewelry, right, making?
oh,
I
right,
think-
right, we actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
some just
cheap
different art
quote,
credits.
and
Sometimes I think an intergenerational program. I went to one synagogue once that they were potting plants, And it was the daughters or granddaughters and the mothers or the grandmothers who were doing
Right.
it.
And
And-
we did a Hamantaschen baking thing as well in the past that involved the kids. This was the kids from the Shorshim from the Hebrew school and their parents and or grandparents. So doing a baking thing is something. And I know they're doing something with challah baking, I think, you know, that they're hoping will entice younger people. And any program that involves theater and music often will entice younger people to come out. I know when we did cabaret night, some of our performers were like a quarter of the age of some of the others. If you can imagine that, right? Maybe not quite a quarter, but you know, there was a wide range, right?
Mhm.
So that was kind of fun. Maybe half the age.
Yeah, it's hard to bring out the younger people because it's not like years ago. Most young women with young families are very involved. It's very hard for them to take the time out. They're working during the day, they're busy at night, they're running around with their children, and
Mhm.
that's a challenge. You know,
Yeah.
it's why we say we have an older synagogue group, because we're more settled, more established. We don't have those problems anymore. We can deal with ourselves only.
We also try to get some younger people involved for Simchat Torah and for Shavuos. We do a luncheon. So often they've tried to get, you know, some younger members who have children to be the ones responsible.
Right. And that also turns out to be a fundraiser, actually, when we serve like a little children's luncheon, because people donate and then, you know, does it more donate than the cost of like the pizzas or the ice cream or whatever little, you know, so that also works out.
Yeah,
to
we
be-
had a decent opening program last year, maybe, challah baking. So we actually purchased challah dough from one of the local bakeries. And we just did the nodding and baking.
Oh, that's
So that's all we had to
interesting.
do.
Oh, that's cool. We once made team, right? Remember, Susan? We got fabric from the Indian community and they cut it to certain, you know, because it was just beautiful, like the stuff they would use for a sari. And we used it and learned how to tie the knots for women for talisim for the women in the shul. And that was kind of a long time ago, I remember, but that was also a program that enticed younger people.
And some of it was actually sent to Israel, but they also kept some in the synagogue.
Yeah. So, you know, it was an intercultural program in a way.
Interesting.
And of course, Sisterhood Shabbat is always a good draw.
Yeah.
Trying to get the non-members, even the new, you know, the newer members and the older members, and you try to create something, making sure that everybody's included. You know, have 2 or 3 people, 4 people open up the ark just to get people to do it, to participate.
Mhm. Yeah.
And a big Kritish lunch.
Yes, food, very
Always
important.
comes back to food.
Mhm.
Yep,
Yeah.
well, it does. I hate to say it, we're Jewish, right? It's food, right? I know we did a rugelach baking thing that was also very much fun.
Yeah.
And that people, I know that there were some younger folk there that were enticed, and even grandmother with grandkids. So good stuff, right? And then they get to eat it. And we do too.
Sheila, when you purchased the challah dough from the bakery, do you
Mhm.
remember how much you were charged
Um,
about, or
no, I don't know. I don't know.
I just curious.
I can find out for you.
Yeah.
But we also, I forgot. I don't know if we charged, but I also know we braided more challahs than participating. So this way we can give them out to the ones that needed it.
Mhm.
And of course, we did it on a Thursday night.
Oh, of course.
Nice.
And we've done challah baking. We've done that kind of thing. Yeah. If
That
we
was
want-
successful.
we'd be limited as to where we could buy the challah dough from. It would, you know, have to be approved.
Right, I'm
Mm.
thinking Bagel World, I think they also sell challahs, and that's an idea, I don't know, I mean, but it was fun making the challah, isn't that difficult?
It's time.
Two of our temple well, they are sister members too, but they aren't as active and regularly in sister programs. They ran a challah baking class last year, and I think, Cindy, they're interested in doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, right?
But that did bring out a lot of people. That was fun.
Yeah, I would look into the bakeries by you, the
Yeah.
Tush bakeries, to see what they have. I know
Right.
one of them up North Jersey had a fire, so I'm not sure where they're.
Oh, Zadie's, yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe Solomon's in Marlboro.
Yeah, or like I said, Bagel World might, I mean, I don't know, but it's simple enough to make the dough, but that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, because then you have to let it rise twice. It's like a whole day affair. Whereas if you get
Mhm.
it
Right.
a little bit quicker, a
Right,
lot quicker.
yeah, we got it. Like the big red box of it almost looked like pizza dough
uh-huh.
in
Mhm.
paint. So, but it wasn't pizza dough, but it looked like it.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, I think I came from West Orange Bake Shop. Now that I think about it.
Mhm. Oh, cool. All right. So any other ideas, questions? Hopefully came up with some creative thoughts that will be helpful, right?
We have some thoughts.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for coming. Susan and Helene, you did a great job. And so you'll be getting the list, the PowerPoint, the two lists from them. So,
Right.
okay, so I'll put the
But
PowerPoint
again, feel
in.
free to feel free to reach out if you need. any
Yeah,
other-
if you have any questions.
We'll put the PowerPoint as a PDF, so this way the fonts don't change and things shift.
Okay, and contact information too, if you.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
excellent.
Right. It's
Thank you.
it's on the right. The last slide is.
Last slide is both of our emails. So if you have any
Right.
questions.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank
you're
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
thanks.